All right, welcome. I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Straight Talk with Dr. Cam. We have a special guest today. His name is the Merchant Broker. He helps people save money all across the board. If you have merchant services, you need to know this guy. We got a very, very exciting conversation today. And so, man, thank you for joining us today. The Merchant Broker, Mr. Rashid Dukes. We're very, very proud to meet you and spend this time with you. You have a very special topic that I think can help a lot of people. If you don't mind, kind of give us a little bit about who you are as a person and how you got into this side of finance. I mean, this is exciting.
Yeah, bro, absolutely. Thanks for asking, man. So about time flies. 18 years ago, I came out of the Air Force and kind of thinking to myself, man, what do I get into now? Like in at that moment, payments, it was fascinating because it was a mix of technology and finance, right? Kind of mixed in together. You got the best of both worlds right there. So I had the opportunity to come in with one of the largest processors at the time, called First Data.
Oh,
So
wow.
First Data, if you think of a pie, probably had about 70% of the market share at that time, which is pretty large, right? And they're
Is that
so
is that a
large.
monopoly? It sounds like a monopoly.
Almost. Here's how they did make a monopoly, right? So
Mhm.
all of the big banks that you can think of, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Truist Bank, all of the big guys, they use a back-end processor to process payments, right?
Okay.
Those transactions are just way too cumbersome. There's way too much risk involved. So what they do is they go and hire, a guy like First Data, a company like First Data, to say, hey, handle our transactions, handle our clients for payments. In return, there's a rev share that's shared between the bank and
Sure.
First Data, or whoever the payment processor is at that time. So I personally worked on the SunTrust Bank Alliance, right before it was Truist.
Okay.
This is 18 years ago, and worked here in Atlanta. Worked the Buckhead market for quite a while and was successful at it. Covered probably about 15 retail bank branches and really got to know small business owners across Atlanta. It
Mhm.
was great for me. And from that, got promoted to commercial in our world, promoted. So my bank partners at the bank at SunTrust Bank were commercial private wealth bankers, and they would then give me the opportunity for that payments business. So some of my clients at the time were the Atlanta Braves, the Falcons, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Lanier Parking, which has the electronic parking structures around the country.
Right.
Yeah, it goes on and on. So really just going from small business and learning and applying that, right, and using that skill set to drive business and bring in payments for big boys like the Braves and ticket sales and
Wow.
things like that.
Wow.
It was really amazing to do, bro.
Wow. So it sounds to me like you've had this great enterprise experience and small business experience. So you've worked the gambit when it comes to payment processing, just from a super large scale, enterprise scale, $1 billion scale, all the way down to a mom and pop business, which, becomes super duper important because the bottom line really matters in small business. And,
For sure.
here at Straight Talk, we're very excited to support small businesses because that's, ultimately what makes America run. And so, with your enterprise experience coming in, was it a big adjustment going from enterprise to small business? And what did that look like for you? And how did you make that adjustment? And how did you get the value from the enterprise and help the small businesses succeed ultimately?
Yeah, yeah. So fast forward, at the bank, First Data, doing that thing for about a decade, was great. Moved on to American Express, did my thing there for a while. In 2014, had an opportunity to really jump out there and go independent. And in
Mm,
our space, what a lot of business owners and small business owners especially don't realize is there are more opportunities for payments other than your standard whatever's comes up first on Google. So for
right,
example, your Stripes of the world, your Squares of the world, if you have a restaurant, maybe you Google Toast and you use Toast.
right.
And you know, that's great for different industries, but
Mhm.
as you grow in business, as small business grows, you need customized, tailored help, right? And that
Ooh,
doesn't cost you anything more, but you've got to understand that there's more opportunity out there for payments other than just those big 3, 4, 5 that you Google, right? There are
right.
folks out there like me who have gone independent, and I own my own book of business. So I go out, I build relationships, I have a book of business, and I am the point man for their merchant account. I have a team of people behind me that do everything from technology to point of sale help to customer service. But at the end of the day, the first phone call is always with me. If I can't knock it out, then I delegate that to my team, right? So for a small business, that's some serious value add.
Yes, it
Not
is. Yes,
only,
yes,
right,
it is. Yes, it
right,
is. And I just wanted to say that, one of the cool things about what you're saying is that I've actually experienced that with you. I'm not only here to actually have this conversation with you, but I'm also a client. You've been of great service to our business and really kind of helped us solve many merchant problems that small businesses typically get. And I've always been able to call on you, and you respond day or night. You're on it. You make us feel comfortable so that we can focus on what we do best, which is technology. And man, you really added value to our organization. And I really suggest any small business really reach out to the merchant broker, because it's important. As a small business, one thing you're going to realize is that you have to be agile. Not everything fits at the time because you're growing and you grow fast. And so you can't keep the same standards the
right.
whole time. Early on, you got to figure out how to get the most value. And that's being lean and mean and reading the information and finding things that give you leverage, even if it's for a moment. Even if you get leverage for a year or 6 months, it's better than not getting it. That allows your business to grow and be successful. And it sounds like that's what you've been really helping a lot of people do, which is commendable, because every dollar counts in a small business.
Yeah,
Now,
if you
go ahead.
don't mind,
Sure.
I'll add on to that. Other than just the service piece, we gotta think about the money for a minute. This is small business. So as we grow and our business needs grow, and we accept more in payments, when you have someone like myself in the front of your account, what that does is it gives you an opportunity to maybe negotiate the rates a little bit more. Well,
Sure.
actually, for me to negotiate the rates a little bit more for you, because I work on behalf of the small business owner, right? I am
Mhm.
not against the small business owner. I am your advocate. And then what I do is I have partners that are in payments, and those different providers provide different needs for different types of industries, right? So I've got solutions for no matter what type of business or industry you're in, but just know with those solutions, with those software solutions, also comes the opportunity to get the best in rates and negotiate those rates down, because you've actually have somebody to really hold accountable to that account versus
Sure.
just signing up for Square and just hoping and
I
praying that
don't
things work
I
out.
don't Yeah, I don't think people commonly know this. I don't think that they know that they can have an advocate as a small business, because remember, as a small business, you're thinking that you don't have the resources to have someone like yourself advocate on their
Right.
behalf to find the best deals. And so I think that's why this is such an important conversation. And so when we talk about small businesses, how do you define a small business to a medium-sized business to an enterprise business?
Yeah. So for me, uh, $2.5 million a year. If you're bringing in $2.5 million a year in credit card sales,
Hmm.
or above, that to me is a medium-sized business.
Yeah.
Anything above 5 to 10 million or better, you start to move on to what we call well in our industry, right? But anything below 2.5, you're still small business. That's probably 80% of America, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
small business is America. It's the heartbeat of America.
Yeah.
In understanding that, we have to understand the needs of small business owners in payments. We have to understand the pain points of small business owners in payments. And that's why, working with a dedicated team will give you different solutions that you didn't know was even out there to begin with, right?
Right. Right.
For example, many merchants use QuickBooks.
Right.
They don't know there's an opportunity to still use QuickBooks as an invoicing piece, but then remove the fees on the back end of that.
Right.
Most people that use QuickBooks, they always tell you it's the same story. I love QuickBooks. I love the features. I love to be able to invoice, but I hate the pricing. It costs too much, right?
Right.
So now you get the best of both worlds, and that plugin is less than $100 a month. So
Wow.
think about it. If you're doing, $100, $200, $300,000 a year in sales, sending out invoices with QuickBooks, which many are,
Sure.
you can make those fees go away. But you gotta be plugged in with the right people, because QuickBooks isn't going to tell you that.
Absolutely. So, just to segue a bit, what are some of the most common misconceptions businesses have about payment, or merchant services, rather?
Yeah. So
And how do you address them?
absolutely. So I think the first one is not understanding payments, as a small business owner, in terms of when I get my statement in the mail, do I
Mhm.
understand what I'm reading? What are these rates? What does that look like? Why are there so many different rates? Right. So I think the
Mhm.
trust factor always comes in. Is this guy ripping me off? Is he a shade tree guy? Who is this guy?
Mhm.
So I think that's always the first kind of thing with the payments piece. And part of that is just, quite frankly, just doing your homework, doing your due diligence. Is that person on LinkedIn? Is he active? Does he have references? If he doesn't, can you ask him for references?
Mhm.
If he's been doing business for a while here in the city, then he would have references as well for you to call on, right? So there's a way to kind of check and balance to make sure that the guy's legit. And I think a lot of times as small business owners, we've got so much going on, and we're so
Sure.
busy, we don't really take time to stop and do our due diligence to make sure that whoever we're signing up with is the right person to sign up with in the beginning. Because that's point number one, is you got to be with the right company, with the right payments processor, and with the right independent agent. If you're not, it's over. You messed up before you started. So it's super
Right.
important.
Gotcha. And so, do you have a educational piece to merchant services where people can reach out and just get more informed on a regular basis
Yeah,
about these particular services? And if you don't mind, maybe tell us a little bit about that.
yeah, absolutely. So my educational piece is simple. Um, LinkedIn
Mhm.
and Instagram
Okay.
at the Merchant Broker, both, right? So at the Merchant Broker Instagram, Ray Dukes on LinkedIn, you'll see me at the Merchant Broker as well. On both of these platforms, on almost a daily basis, I'm giving information, tips to small business owners about payments. Um, that's specific maybe to their industry, whether they're in
Mhm.
medical, whether they're in industrial, maybe they're a dentist, maybe they're an attorney. You've got different software set up for different verticals. How do you know what's what? So I lay that out to you in
Mhm.
small segments on LinkedIn and Instagram. So I would advise you guys to follow me there, get those tidbits. Once you see that, you're interested, you feel confident, reach out to me, right? LinkedIn is a public platform. It's also a check platform, so the people on LinkedIn have been checked and verified. So reach out to me, send me a message. Let's have a virtual conversation. If you're in Atlanta, we can meet in person as well. So I'm here
Wow.
for. Been doing it 18 years. I love it, man. I'm a people's person, um, and I'm here to help small business. I'm a small business owner myself.
Right. And so, just to pivot a little bit, um, maybe tell us a little bit about how payment processing has changed over time. I know you've
Yeah,
been doing it for a while, and there's a lot of different ebbs and flows on this side of on this side of finance. But if you don't mind, maybe tell us like where we were and kind of where we're at today, like the ecosystem that we're currently in today. Like, what is
yeah.
it, and how does
Absolutely.
it work?
So
Mhm.
we'll split it up. We'll break it up. We'll divide it by technology and
Mhm.
finance. So let's talk about the finance part first,
Okay.
right? So when I came in, most rates were hovering somewhere about 3.5 to 4.5, 5%. Some merchants, right?
Hmm.
Um, Everybody was on what we call a rate plus structure, which means, for example, 3.5 plus 10 cents per transaction. That's a rate plus transaction structure. And then if they were taking certain type of cards, it would charge them an additional 1% or 2%. So folks were, at the end of the day, they were processing at 5, 6% sometimes, which
Woo.
was crazy. Which was
Right.
crazy. And that goes back to that trust factor, right? And
Hmm.
so over time, I think small business owners became frustrated with that because
Yeah.
they couldn't trust people to kind of do the right thing and give them a fair shake, right? So over time, as that went on, you had other people in the industry on the tech side who took advantage of that and
Mm,
said, you know what, I'm going to come in, I'm going to make it easy as hell for the small business owner. They can jump, they can go to a website, they can go on their phone, they can put
mhm.
their information in. I'll send them a widget in the mail, it hooks up to their phone, and they can swipe cards right from their phone.
Yeah,
It blew the game up.
it
It
did.
blew the game up. They had a specific rate. It wasn't kind of back and forth. It was high, but it
Mhm.
wasn't 5-6%,
Right,
right? And and really that changed the game, and it changed the behaviors of the payment processors who, quite frankly, allowed that behavior to go on for so long, you
right.
know. And that's
Mhm.
all payments. So whether it's Visa, Mastercard, the individual ISOs, the banks, everybody had the part to play in that, right? So
Gotcha. Mhm.
yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens. So you have technologies who what that comes in and takes advantage of the finance piece, and that's kind of what happened. And then on the backside of that,
Mhm.
because you had so much automation and technology come in, the guys like myself were kind of forgotten about. So 18 years later, no one even knows that we still exist, right? Because everybody's still just doing things on automation. But now, in today's climate, in today's space as a small business owners, we can't just say, you know what, automation is it, and that's all, and I'm just going to just go with it. You can't go with
Yeah.
it anymore,
Yeah,
right?
because it's kind of out of the box automation. It's not custom to their needs. It's kind of like one size fits all. But
Right,
with you kind of are like a la carte. You give people multiple options to be able to solve these problems, which I think is really, really cool. And I think more people should probably take advantage, and they'll probably see that on their bottom line. Now, when you talked about the technology piece, how has crypto affected your market accepting crypto payments? Has there been any issue with this, or are you seeing this as a growing trend because everybody's doing crypto, everybody's buying crypto? I own Bitcoin and Solana and a couple other things,
right, right.
but and I like the idea of being able to use them, to buy things, to purchase services. So have you seen any of that? And if so, what do you think is going to happen over the next 5 years? Because this stuff is moving fast.
So I'll speak to something that recently happened in our market in payments, and that's the passing of fees and that, right? So you see it
Mhm.
a lot in the service industry where Visa has come out and allowed certain types of industries to be able to pass that fee on. And when that first came out, as good as it sounded, it was very unpopular to merchants to actually pull the trigger on it because they didn't want to piss their clients off, right?
Right,
So in the beginning, most were like, "It sounds good, but I'll wait until everybody else does it."
right,
Now the pendulum has kind of swung a little bit,
sure.
and it's the guys who are still doing it are like, "Why are you still doing that? You need to be passing those fees off as a small business owner, right?" So
Mhm.
so that swung, and I kind of say the same thing with Bitcoin. It's
Okay.
still in that beginning phrase
Mhm,
where it's still kind of like, I want to wait till I see some more people do it,
mhm.
but it's doing like this, and
Yeah, it's going
eventually
up.
it's good. That's right. So for me, as an independent guy, that's a value add. That's something that I'm going to add to my portfolio for my small business owners to be able to say, hey, I know you want to take card payments and we can do software and we can do e-commerce and all the stuff, but now we can also do some Bitcoin as well.
Right.
And that's something that I've also recently added on to my portfolio because why not, right?
Yeah, I just see that as the future. I mean,
Absolutely.
maybe in the future, you're gonna be the crypto merchant broker.
Bro, I'm going to do it
I
all.
mean, it can
Payments,
happen. This
payments,
technology
it's
is changing
payments.
super duper fast.
If it's
And
payments, the merchant broker does it,
oh,
period.
I love that, man. That sounds like a commercial. Yeah, okay. And so when it comes to solving problems, like maybe tell us about one of the biggest problems you solved when it comes to helping a small business or medium-sized business.
Yeah,
Because I know when you have big transactions, I'll be clear. I'll just tell people how you helped me.
yeah,
You know,
please.
yeah. I, so there was a time where I had $50,000 hung up in the account, there was an issue. They were not releasing it. I was really upset because who doesn't need 50K?
Right.
And I was kind of getting bent out of shape, and I was able to call you, and it was very frustrating, but you kind of kept us calm. You worked through it and really kind of help us navigate and understand, some of the, what happens behind the scenes that
Right.
really helped us stay cool and calm. And so you were a catalyst to help us get, 50, it's probably over 50K, but I think it was around 50K released back to our account. And so, that's why I'm a big fan of the merchant broker, as you can tell, when it comes to solving problems and creating solutions in small businesses, because those things really matter. Because
Right.
if you get that call and you do not have an advocate, you do not have a person with relationships, then the likelihood of it, you being successful is actually kind of low.
It's kind of low. I
Because,
mean, you said it, and you actually
Mhm.
used the example that I was going to use, and that's for 18 years I've been doing that, quite frankly. And you can
Oof,
imagine, you're signing 40, $50 million clients,
oof,
and $100,000 gets jammed up in a day, and they're blowing your phone up,
mhm.
and it's not on you, but you got to figure it out for them, right? Because you're the
Right.
point man. And,
Yes,
and that's
yes.
what I've been doing. I've been a problem solver for 18 years. And I sometimes I see stuff out there on the net, and it's like, oh, come with our company. We've got better processing. We won't hold your fund.
Mhm,
It's nonsense. It
mhm.
Everybody works on the same playing grounds. Everybody carries and holds the same risk, right? So if you
Mhm.
got a large transaction here, you're going to have one there. Risk is going to do their due diligence to make sure that it's not fraud, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
So the difference is having someone there to explain that, right?
Ooh, yes, important.
Because most don't. And that's why we're here to really educate people, to say, hey, there's a better way of doing it. You're already doing it anyway, but put
Right.
somebody in front of it and make sure that you get the best for you, best for your bang.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so if you were to give one piece of advice to business owners about payment processing, what would it be?
Who you deal with matters. Who you do business with matters. And remember, people do business with people, not with companies.
Yes.
I think that's important to remember. But outside of that, the person that you do business with, the agent you do business with, make sure that their partners are solid,
Right.
right? So for me, I've done some real due diligence to make sure that my payments partners that I have behind me are solid. And they are. The owners of these companies are friends of mine. We go out to dinner. I know their families. It's that sort of relationship. If
Wow.
it's not that relationship, I don't want it,
Got
right?
it.
Because in
Mhm.
our space, there can be sometimes where it's a dark side, and you work with the payment processor, and they don't do the right thing by the agent or the client or the customer, right? And that's no good
Mhm.
for the agent. So I got to make sure that my partners are legit first before I bring any clients to them. So I vet it to make sure that that's happened. So that's
Gotcha.
another reason why you work with the merchant broker.
And I have one more question. Um, because I've been doing business for a long time, you're the first person I encountered that actually does this. Now I know that there are other people that do this, but maybe not independently. Is this even a career opportunity? Is this something that a person could get into and actually also make money?
Oh
Is there
man, that's a fantastic question. And the answer is yes,
okay.
absolutely. Payments is here; it's not going anywhere, right? In small business, the mechanism and how you accept the payments may change,
Mhm.
but payments isn't going anywhere,
Sure.
right? So at the end of the day, you know, it's this it's all about payments.
Got it. Got it. Got it. All right. And so to close it out, give me three quick tips on, or give me three things that a person or a business should know about merchant services, or tips and tricks about the industry that they should know moving forward after this interview.
Yeah. All right. So here's some quick tips. There are three ways to be priced
Mm,
in payments. There's rate plus transaction, which for example is 2.5% and 10 cents. That's
mm,
probably the worst way to be priced.
okay.
Next way, is what we call 3-tier. There's qualified, there's mid-qualified, there's non-qualified. Depending on the card you get, it falls into one of those brackets, but it's a little bit better than the first option I gave you.
Right.
The last option is what we call interchange plus, which means it's wholesale cost. So every card that a merchant accepts, there's a wholesale cost that's tied to that card that goes directly to Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, and the bank issuer, whoever issued that card, right? So that wholesale always goes to them first. It's there for the other two as well. It's always there. Visa is going to get their cut first.
Sure.
But with this way, it's just wholesale raw cost plus whatever the processor charges you to process those transactions, right? And typically, that's under 1%, right?
Okay.
So that's a whole lot better than that
great.
first option that we talked about.
Absolutely.
Most merchants are on that first option if they're using the Stripes, the Squares, the Toasts of the world. So again, it goes back to having that independent agent, that help in front of that client, in front of that merchant account, that can really drive that price down for you and get you the right technology.
Man, thank you so much. This has been an amazing interview. I look forward to actually doing this again with you because I think there's so much more to cover in this space, and I want to make sure all of the listeners are getting and understanding this information. If you have a small business, this could be a game changer. This could save you, tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands if you are speaking to the merchant broker. So go follow the merchant broker, find this guy. If you have a business, find this man and at least have a conversation. It's really about having a conversation to see if he has more value.
Check this out, Dr. Cam. Check this out. And I don't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
I've had a client that I've had for 13 years, right? He's been a client of mine for 13 years. I've been telling him about this whole new thing with the Visa, MasterCard passing the fees off and how it would really help his business, putting money back in his pocket. He was one of those guys that I was telling you about that didn't want to do it at first. He's finally there.
Right.
And he's about to save himself $21,000 a year.
Wow. This is big. This is huge. I mean, if you got kids, that's tuition. That's right. That's more marketing. These are real dollars that can change the trajectory of your company. Every business, every small business has its highs and lows. And so the more you are creative about solving problems, saving money, then the more likely you are to be successful long term. And I thank you for sharing that story. I know a lot of people that are probably on the fence or have been on the fence, but hopefully this conversation allows them to jump on in and get the value that they need. And I'm sure they're going to be thanking you later because I have thanked you many times, and I will continue to thank you for your help and service with those merchant service issues. So thank you again for joining Straight Talk with Dr. Cam. We are signing off. Have a blessed day.
Been fun, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in to Straight Talk with Dr. Cam. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share for more exciting content information. Now, here is a message from our sponsor.
Imagine a world where your career isn't just surviving the future, but shaping it. The future of tech is here, and it's smarter, faster, and powered by artificial intelligence. Welcome to Cloud Tech Academy, where every course is supercharged with AI. Whether you're diving into cloud computing, DevOps, or cybersecurity, you'll learn to master the game-changing potential of artificial intelligence. Don't just learn what's now, learn what's next. At Cloud Tech Academy, you'll discover how to harness AI to innovate, optimize, and dominate in the cloud. Our students don't just get trained, they get hired. With hands-on learning, expert mentorship, and real-world projects, you'll leave with more than skills. You'll have a career. The tech world is evolving faster than ever. AI is no longer optional, it's essential. The question is, are you ready to evolve with it? Level up with Cloud Tech Academy, where AI meets cloud brilliance. Enroll today and start shaping the future. Train today, lead tomorrow, enroll now, www.cloudtechacademy.com.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. So we want to wrap this conversation up. Have a great day.